On this edition of Lexington Now, AgTech grants, heat safety, and construction site erosion control. I'm Neil Noah. Welcome to Lexington Now for the week of August 19th, 2024. The first Bluegrass AgTech Development Corps incentive grants were awarded this past week. The grants are designed to encourage AgTech and food-based businesses to locate in Kentucky.
Good morning, everyone. It is a very exciting day to be back here. And today we're making this $625,000 down payment on good jobs, on new businesses, and on a bright future. 7 businesses, including 5 headquartered right here in Lexington, are winners of the first Bluegrass AgTech Development Corp incentive grants. Together, the grants combine to make $625,000 in funding for these businesses. This day has been a long time coming. It really began in 2018 during my first campaign for mayor, when I wrote this little book, and it had all of my goals for my administration, and guess what one of them was? One of them was I wanted to make Lexington the AgTech hub of business for the United States. Now, the only other thing I've ever been in from the bottom, from the beginning, was Friends of the Dog Park when we built that. So this was a little bit more aspirational, right? But because I was raised in a farming community, all my grandparents were farmers, I've always seen Lexington's farmland and Kentucky's farmland as not only a source of beauty, but a source of economic strength. We all know our farms are businesses that together make an enormous contribution to our economy. So we had that base, farmland. We can never forget the deep roots our economy has in agriculture, and we want to grow these roots, and AgTech is a great way to do this. So we formed a partnership to make it all happen.
The first one on the list, Parasite Systems, is the world's only push-button fecal egg count system of veterinary. I'm going to get over my head real quick in a lot of this, so please forgive me. In veterinary clinics, provide instant image results. You can email with your recommended treatment protocol. They're based here in Lexington. Redleaf. Redleaf Biologics is a biotechnology company combining proprietary plant genetics and extraction processes to develop a range of phytochemical extracts with valuable applications in health, cosmetics, wellness, and nutrition, also based in Lexington. Next is Hempwood. Hempwood is committed to providing healthy building materials that are good for the environment and its users. Hempwood is made via a patented process that utilizes, I'm going to blow that word, mimicry, thank you, to transform hemp fibers and protein-based bonding agents into viable substitutes for anything solid oak could be used for. They're based in Murray, Kentucky. Okay, our next one is IrisTrack. IrisTrack provides horse owners with a painless, non-invasive method of identification and a web platform and database to store and access their horse's ID and other records. The primary product of IrisTrack is patented equine iris scanner. Our next group is Lipidex. Lipidex discovers and develops and commercializes safe and effective bioinsecticides to control pests in food and fiber crops. The result of their technology delivers improvements in sustainable food production and a positive impact on environmental health parameters by avoidance of use of alternative synthetic insecticides. They're based here in Lexington. Our next awardee is Sunflower Fuels. Sunflower Fuels provides bio-based feedstocks to the power and refining industries. Sunflower Fuels' mission is to harness and untap potential of people and land in rural areas and grow energy crops that will extract carbon from the air and power the U.S., based in Lexington. And our seventh awardee is Spirited Biomaterials. They create, and I'm not even going to start to pronounce that word, but let's use PHA for their material, a scientifically proven, fully biodegradable plastic substitute that can be used with direct replacement for the look and feel of traditional petroleum-based plastics. It's a sugar polymer that is naturally formed on the earth and in our bodies, which can be broken down so easily by the microorganisms in the soil and doesn't pollute our planet. They're based in Lexington.
The warm weather months are a time to get out and enjoy the outdoors, but they also require caution when it comes to heat. Emily Fay has some tips.
When it comes to being outside in the summer heat, it's important to take breaks, stay in the shade as much as possible, and really work on staying hydrated. So drinking lots of water or beverages that don't have caffeine or lots of sugar. Caffeine dehydrates you. As much tasty it is, and we get our sugar and we're all jived up, it is actually dehydrating. So if you're having a Dr. Pepper, balance it out with water. Your normal intake, maybe try to double that. Just imagine, whatever you're sweating out, you need to replenish. It's important to wear light, loose clothing in a lighter color to prevent yourself from overheating. So dark colors, heavy fabrics, trap the heat, will not help. But if you're outside, you have a loose shirt on, it's a light color, it will help the air move around you freely and breathe and help you enjoy the summer longer. When you're outside in the sun for long periods of time, you want to make sure you have sunscreen. They recommend you start SPF 30, SPF 45, but that all depends on your skin tone and how easily you burn and how long you'll be exposed. You want to keep in mind that the UV is highest between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and so you want to make sure you're protected, especially during those hours. When you're taking your pet for a walk in the summer, you got to monitor the temperature of the asphalt. Put your back of your hand on the asphalt for about 5 to 7 seconds. If it hurts you, it's going to hurt them. Their paw pads are extremely sensitive, so when they touch the asphalt, it will actually burn and peel off. I mean, it's just like you burning the bottom of your foot walking on asphalt in July. It's not fair. But they can also exhibit signs of heat stroke and heat exhaustion. And overheat, you can't see their skin and see that it's hot and red, but you can tell when they're overheating, excessive panting, they can't cool down. So it's important to keep them inside during those hot times, offer them lots of water, and make sure they have a chance to rest and recuperate. For heat-related illnesses, there are 3 types. There's heat cramps, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke. So heat cramps are characterized by heavy sweating during intense physical activity, and then obviously muscle cramps or spasms. So you're out playing soccer, it's 90 degrees, all of a sudden you go down, your leg's cramping. That would be heat cramp. You would stop the physical exercise and start rehydrating, give yourself time to rest. Move to a cool location or at least in the shade to allow your body to cool down. So heat exhaustion is a much more serious type of heat illness. In this case, you see heavy sweating, weakness, your skin gets cold and pale and clammy, which seems like the opposite of a heat illness, but it is a dangerous sign. Of course, you can see fainting and vomiting as well. When you see someone with signs of heat exhaustion, it's important to slowly start reintroducing liquids to them. And you also want to try to cool the person down. You can use cool cloths, areas of heat release, so that could be like your armpits, the inside of your legs, your wrists. Signs of heat stroke include someone whose skin is hot, dry, and red, as well as a temperature of over 103 degrees, a fast pulse, headache, dizziness, nausea, confusion, and sometimes loss of consciousness. If you're someone with any of these signs outside, it's important to get them to medical attention right away. You want to loosen their clothing, try to cool them down, but be careful not to force too much water into them because they may throw it right back up and it's not going to do anybody any favors. You can still enjoy your summer, it's just a matter about being safe when you do it. So if you're outside between 10 and 2, points where it's the hottest of the day, take lots of breaks, go into the shade to cool down, and monitor your activity. You see yourself start to overheat, that's time to take a break. By no means do you have to stop enjoying summer, just do it carefully. But for more information about heat safety, you can visit BeReadyLexington.com or follow us on any social media pages, including Facebook, X, which is Twitter, or Instagram.
When we come back, protecting our local waterways from construction runoff.
Hello everyone, I'm Tiffany Brown, Equity and Implementation Officer in the Mayor's Office and Chair of the A Sense of Place Committee. I'm here today to talk about A Sense of Place, an initiative dedicated to preserving the history of Lexington's rural Black hamlets and celebrating those that remain active today. More than 20 historic Black hamlets have been identified in Fayette County. Most are located in rural areas. Our historic hamlets have been and are home to generations of lived experiences, traditions, and culture. Houses, churches, schools, grocery stores, agricultural enterprises, and lodge halls for community gatherings were found in many hamlets. A Sense of Place is a partnership between community members with direct connection to our hamlets and the city of Lexington. Its goal is to raise awareness about what the hamlets represent and to identify steps that are needed to take to preserve their history. The A Sense of Place Committee includes local historian Yvonne Giles, local historian Calvin Graves, Executive Director of the Lexington History Museum Mandy Higgins, Cadentown resident Dr. Alvin Seals, Cadentown Baptist Church pastor Reverend Leon Slatter, and others. With support from members of the Cadentown community, A Sense of Place is currently raising funds for maintenance updates and programming of the Cadentown Rosenwald School and property located at 705 Caden Lane. In the early 2000s, members of the Cadentown community worked with the city to preserve the school. In the early 20th century, Rosenwald schools were found across the South, serving rural Black children and families during segregation. Many of the buildings have been destroyed. Lexington is proud that the Cadentown School still stands and wants to preserve the history and significance that so many of these schools have had in our hamlet communities. The funds will complete the restoration of the school and upgrade the historic cemetery and church building. The school will permanently house artifacts that tell the story of Lexington's hamlet. We hope you will join us.
Welcome back to Lexington Now. The summer interns in the Division of Water Quality have a public service announcement they'd like to share with you. It's all part of their internship project.
Hi, I'm Kane Ran, and the top story of today is erosion and sediment control for streams, wetlands, and lakes. Here's Wes Hickelman with a look at a recent tragedy in our communities involving a death in a local waterway.
Thank you, Kane Ran. I have an exclusive interview today with one of the individuals impacted by this tragedy. Fresh out of the water, here is Mr. Gills to tell us about what is happening in our local streams.
Thank you, Miss Hickelman. It is with a heavy heart that I share with you that I have lost one of my cousins this morning. This is the fourth cousin and multiple friends that I have lost this week, including Shelby the snail and Sam the salamander.
If we could just have a moment of silence, I guess. Thank you for being so brave to tell your story, Mr. Gills. Do you know anything about what is happening in our streams to cause all these losses?
I'll tell you what the problem is. It's all this erosion and sediment in our streams, lakes, and wetlands.
How does the sediment harm fish friends like you, Mr. Gills?
There are many issues with having a bunch of sediment in our water. It can fill in the habitat spaces between the rocks where we live and suffocate us or our babies. It can prevent us from seeing our food, which can starve us. It can dislodge plants, invertebrates, or insects from the stream bed, which can disrupt our food sources. Not to mention that it can increase the cost of treating drinking water and can result in odor or taste problems for you humans.
Oh goodness, how is the sediment getting in our waterways?
There are many ways that the stream banks can erode, specifically on construction sites. Some things that can contribute to erosion are removed vegetation, steep bank slopes, unprotected outside bins, and increased levels of runoff in the drainage area.
Is there anything that can be done about this?
Well, when working on a site, avoid removing vegetation to the best of their ability. Replant along steep stream banks and use things like logs, large rocks, or embedded root wads to protect outside curves and incorporate infiltration into any spot you can. And try to direct runoff into grassy swales and vegetated or landscaped areas.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gills. We now have a better understanding of this problem. I am being told we have a second interview lined up with construction man Boone Tink. Here's East Hickelman on the scene. I'm East Hickelman, and I'm here on the scene with construction man Boone Tink, and he is here to tell us more about some ways that we can prevent construction sites from killing more of Mr. Gill's friends and family.
One thing that can be done is to make sure that any temporary stream crossings on the site are done properly. In order to do this, we need to make sure that we keep equipment away from and out of streams and make sure that nothing constructed impedes on the natural flow. It is also important to make sure that any temporary stream crossings are put in areas where the least stream damage will occur. Look for areas with hard stream bottoms, low or gently sloping banks, and heavy stable vegetation on both sides.
Wow, that is a lot to keep in mind. Could you tell us more about keeping heavy stable vegetation on both sides?
We want to make sure that we can either keep existing vegetated buffers or add new ones to prevent erosion. This can be done by being careful with any vegetation near stream banks, planting native species where vegetation has been removed, and not mowing near the banks to promote stable channels during high flows. These vegetated buffers are the last chance to capture sediment before it enters the waterway, so it is super important.
Is there anything else you would like to tell us about preventing erosion and sediment on a job site?
A few general reminders that can help keep erosion and sediment where it is supposed to be are to make sure to stabilize all disturbed areas within 50 feet of the top of stream banks within 24 hours of their disturbance. Not having any clearings or other activities within 50 feet of perennial or intermittent waterways. Flag off vegetated buffer areas to keep equipment away and clean up after yourself.
Well, thank you, Mr. Gills and construction man Boone Tink. We appreciate all of your guidance on how to prevent these tragedies. It is now time for Mr. Gills to go home.
Thank you, Wes and East Hickelman. You can pay your respects to Mr. Gill's cousins by visiting mrgillscousins.com, and you can learn more about erosion and sediment control by visiting mrboonttinkconstruction.com. Thanks for tuning in.
The Living Arts and Science Center combines science, art, education, and community service for children and adults. We stopped by to get a tour.
So my name is Alyssa McKenzie. I'm the Living Arts and Science Center's Development Director, and we are in our Glow Gallery, which is one of 5 galleries that we have at the Living Arts and Science Center. We are downtown in Lexington, and we've been in the same location for about 55 years. But we expanded our building in 2016, so we're in the new part of our building. We've been here for a very long time. Our house was originally owned by George Kincaid, and he was an attorney of Abraham Lincoln's and was a Secretary of State in Kentucky twice, and we're the second owners of the house. His family bequeathed it to the Living Arts and Science Center in the early 70s. So we do a lot. We have art and science programming for all ages, and our goal is to really engage the community in educational opportunities that are accessible, that can be from summer camps, which we're in the last 2 weeks of. It can be in adult classes. We also are open for daily visitors. We have planetarium shows twice a day, and we really strive to have accessible programming not just at our building, but also out in the community. So we, like I said, we're open for daily visitors. We have planetarium shows. We have 5 galleries, 4 exhibits, 15 eco-ambassadors who are our animals that help with our educational programming, a ceramic studio, and a couple maker spaces. And then we go out into the community and do after-school programming that's free for Title I schools, as well as art programs in some schools that have decreased their art programs or maybe want supplemental art classes. We go and do those as well. We used to call them our animal ambassadors, but we started calling them our eco-ambassadors, and we have axolotls, toads, turtles. We have aquatic turtles and box turtles. We also have 2 snakes, a tarantula, and fish. We have 2 baby axolotls that we will be debuting in the fall, and we're having kind of a naming contest. Summer camp students could get a ticket at the beginning of the week, and if they get picked, they get to submit a name for those baby axolotls. But they're really throughout the building, and they're a way to complement our educational programs. We have a lot of field trips and visitors, so when they come, they can learn about an environmental science concept, and then they learn about the animals and how they get, how they survive in the wild and the way that they camouflage with their environment to survive, and it just really enhances what we do. So a lot of people know us for our summer camps and our art classes, but we do really try to have both art and science programming, but infuse creativity in the science side of things. And so we have pre-K programming. It's our Seedlings in STEAM. It's free for pre-K students and their caregivers. And that is more environmental science focused, but then they do an art activity to reinforce what they've learned. And then we have K through 8 programming that is a little more focused on arts and environmental sciences, different mediums. We'll have middle school programming, our Teen Art Lab this fall, and that will be really different mediums that students will learn about and hopefully get really excited about and continue doing after they leave the class. We'll also have no school day camps and classes, and those are usually things like printmaking, painting. Then our adult programming is really kind of ramping up. So our adult programming ranges from ceramics, still life painting, scrapbooking, collage. We have a really fun ceramics class for Valentine's Day, which is modeled after the movie Ghost. So you can come with a friend or a partner, and so that usually sells out, but we are starting our adult art club this fall. That'll be a ceramics class, and then our brunch club series, which is gonna meet on the 4th Saturday of each month this fall, and it's gonna be making a mocktail paired with an art medium. So it's like palomas and printmaking, or like painting and another mocktail. So really just ways for people to build community. And then we have another summer camp. They're mostly for pre-K to high schoolers, but next week will be our 2nd week of Camp Gold, which is a summer camp for individuals 50 plus. And so we started that this summer, and I think it's been full both weeks that we've offered it, so we're really excited about potentially offering that again next year. So we are open Tuesdays through Saturdays. Tuesdays through Friday we're open from 10 to 6. We show 2 planetarium shows a day, and on Saturdays we're open from 10 to 2, and we show 2 planetarium shows. And we really try to have themed programming on Saturdays, so we'll bring in community partners. The 3rd Saturday of every month is free, and then during the week on Tuesdays through Fridays, we try to have some self-guided activities in our classrooms, so people can come, take as much time as they want to explore our exhibits and galleries, and then go to our classrooms and do an activity. We have an art room and a science room, so they can participate in either one. And we have a gift shop where people find a lot of good stuff. We have an artist in residence who will be starting in September, and she sells a lot of her work there. Jillian was an artist in residence, and so she sold some of her work there. And so it's a really great way for artists that we work with to sell their work and kind of enhance their careers, but also Christmas shopping or holiday shopping. Our staff is really excited and energetic, really passionate about our programming, and we're focusing this year not just on programming in our building and our outreach efforts in the community, but we're also looking at how we can engage the community with our outdoor spaces. So we have about 1.5 acres that we sit on, and we have a community garden, we have a native garden, and we really want people to engage with those spaces, learn about native species. We also have a story walk trail. And so if we can engage people with our outdoor space, even if they don't feel totally comfortable coming into our building, we really want to do that and just take advantage of the fact that we do have a green space in the middle of downtown, which is kind of unusual. So people can find our classes, camps, events on our website, which is lasclex.org, or they can go to our Facebook or Instagram, which is lasclex. Right now, our Discovery exhibit is closed, but we will have a ribbon cutting and an unveiling of our new exhibit on September 7th. And folks can look at our website to see all of our fall programs. Everything is up and ready to go, so we hope that people will join us this fall for programs.
Council is back from summer recess this week, and that means a lot of live meeting coverage on Lex TV and streaming online. And remember, you can also find the most up-to-date information on non-televised city business at lexingtonky.gov. Here's this week's meeting coverage. That's all for now, but as always, you can keep up with us on social media. Check out the latest traffic updates on X at LexRex or catch our live traffic cams on lexingtonky.gov. For all of us at Lex TV, I'm Neil Noah, and that's it for now.